Hey guys, it is currently February 13th, 2011, and this is Day 9 Daily number 259. Kind of. Let's hear about why. So, with the usual setup that I do, this little show called the Day 9 Daily, it is about being a better gamer. My goal with the daily is always to try to demystify some of the mystical seeming elements. In particular, to help people learn to play better, so that way it doesn't feel so daunting. Because I'm not going to lie, Starcraft 2, very intimidating kind of games. Also, to make the observing more fun. It's kind of like the first time I saw football when I was a little kid. I was like, what's going on? What is this? What the hell? And it was boring. It was kind of fun to see someone get knocked over, but whatever. And then when I actually learned how the game worked, I made all this cool stuff happen. So I kind of like to expand the observer understanding. And also just to be a charming, heartwarming personality that hopefully entertains many people while at work, or just at home, or at any point of transit between those two locations. Yeah, I have my clear set of ideals. However, one thing you don't really hear that much about is like my interaction with the show and all that sort of good jazz, because this is essentially what happened today. And I'm going to begin by virtue of analogy. Have you ever been like, you have like an essay that's due, right? It's like, let's just say it's like a 10-page paper, right? Kind of one of those standard things that you'd have to write in college. And you're at a point where you're just like, okay, I need to write this. I need to write this. And you try to like work on it a little bit, and you're like, okay, and all this other stuff keeps coming up, all these other assignments, you have this other exam, and you kind of keep putting it off, and you're like, okay, and I got to do this. And then there comes a point when it's like 8 a.m. the morning it's due, and it's due in like 3 hours, and you're just like, I'm actually not gonna have this done, am I? So that's kind of what basically happened today, is that the daily does require preparation and requires many hours of work to churn out one of these bad boys, and I kind of was at a point where I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm just not going to have something good for Sunday. And I actually ended up, canceling the Thursday show for the same reason. So rather than do something like kind of make a really crappy one, what I thought would be interesting would be to do just sort of a live Q&A where you can ask things about me. And the live audience helped me make a little list of categories where we can say, all right, ask me things about my college and my grad school, and people fill up the chat, and we can just talk about that, and you can get to learn a little bit more about me and all that sort of good jazz. Before we do any of that, I have to do some usual announcements. Fun Day Monday for this week would be to do the mass contaminate. You must contaminate 3 buildings at the same time at least 3 different points in the game, or you must have one building nonstop contaminated 3 times in a row. In other words, I want to see mass contaminate with Zerg. Because kick-assly enough, last week's Fun Day Monday about the Mass Queen, now tons of people are doing Mass Queens in their gameplay. Oh, it's so cool to see. Same thing with the Iacoic TVT build. Tons of people are doing the Iacoic build. Yeah! I'm so delighted about that. So hopefully we can get some Contaminate in there as well. Newbie Tuesday also is the same as last week's Newbie Tuesday, where you submit a game of you trying to use the mechanics lessons from Day 9 Daily 252, because they're kind of hard and it's fun to do. Most importantly, you don't have to just submit a replay for this week. I would love if you could submit a 16:9 VOD that I could display on the daily, and we could talk about it as we're watching it. That would be perfect. So yeah, just send those to Tuesday at day9.tv. And also, I wanted to get your thoughts, dear audience, of your opinions on this. There's recently been a lot of people talking about their concerns with lag on this stream, that a lot of people can't view it. It's stuttery. They have to watch the archives, even though they're always showing up live for it. And I would love to hear your opinions on it about, what things would work for you. Potentially switching to other services, what things you would like to see from the stream perhaps fixed. If you could send those to feedback at day9.tv, we can compile them and get a good sense of what you fine folks that represent the community so desire. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. So without any further ado, hopefully this will be a fun daily. I hope this is an okay compromise where there was not a show for today. So I hope that rather than just having nothing, that this something is adequate enough. So let's go ahead and begin with questions about college in graduate school. College and graduate school. And while we're waiting for the questions to sort of fill up, and by the way, admins, feel free to, send me links to questions that you think are good ones. And if you're not an admin, I'll know. Ask me questions about college and grad school. So I went to Harvey Mudd College, which honestly is the finest educational institution in the world, period. If you are into science, technology, if you want to do math, engineering, chemistry, biology, physics, computer science, you will never find a better school than Harvey Mudd College, period. You will not find a better college than Harvey Mudd College. It was so amazing going to Harvey Mudd. Now I'm in the USC Interactive Media Masters in Fine Arts program. So literally in 4 short months, on May 13th, I graduate from that. And I'll have a master's. I'll be Master Sean. So I'll have my math and my fine arts degree, which is kind of nifty. I mean, the USC program is also really kick-ass. Harvey Mudd is like my home, though. That's where I have the most fondest of memories and all that sort of good stuff. So let's see here. What are some good things? Oh yeah, Amazements-1 says, Day 9, you said once that Harvey Mudd allowed students to just burn shit outside. Did you ever burn anything during your time there? This is something I need to talk about. Harvey Mudd is such a relief of maturity when you go there. It's so nice. So for instance, how many of you in your high school or university had that situation where the teachers are like, all right, well, we're going to do the test, but I'm going to be watching you. Don't you put your eyes on anyone else's paper. And she sits up there with like binoculars and their security cameras. And anytime, you turn your head, like crack your neck or something, and like a javelin comes out of nowhere and spears you. Eyes on your own test. And you're like, my neck is stiff, right? It's so annoying. Harvey Mudd had so many, official, codified, enumerated rules that basically said, we as the school trust you not to be a dick. For instance, there was an honor code where they just said, you're not going to cheat, so please don't cheat. And that's it. That's what they said. That was the policy. So, for instance, they would be able to say things like, here's an exam. It's going to be a take-home exam. Take it whenever you want. Start it and work on it. And at the end of X hours, stop. Stop working on it. And then, turn it in. And, nobody cheated. I know that there is, obviously instances of this happening. But, literally, it would just not happen. And it was never an issue. And there was never a problem with it either. No teacher ever came up to me and was like, Sean, I think you cheated on your exam. You seem to do a good job on it. Never happened. And my exams, even my take-home exams, would have that silly look to it where I'd be writing and everything would be clean and I'd hit the 30 minutes left mark and I'd be like, shit! Just streaming down with as much writing as I possibly could. And then at the end of that, I would turn it in and they'd be like, all right, good. Too bad you didn't finish those last 2 problems. Here's your C. And I'd be like, yes, I got a C. Yeah, because Harvey Mudd's so difficult, and a C is so rewarding. So one of the rules was that the flames are not allowed to be as tall as the buildings. That is a probably very famous rule that is stated. So kids will do things like they'll have a rough day, and they'll just collect a bunch of flammable things and set them on fire in the courtyard. And, of course, the security's, patrolling around, and, they're watching the giant blazing infernos, and it's cool. It's totally fine. Because, again, the school says, you're going to burn stuff, but we know you're not going to do it in a way that will destroy the school. Make sure it's burned in this, a certain structure so that it doesn't do damage and all this other stuff, and keep it reasonable. And that's, the whole attitude of the school, and it's so great. It's, a huge amount of relaxation. Interestingly, I never really burned too much. I had a stick and I put it in the fire and I pulled it out and it was on fire and I was like, yeah, and I shook it and then it was like, and that was it. That was that. Yeah. All right, let's see. What are some other fun questions about my college life? What on earth is there? Oh yeah. Avarius asks this question. Day 9, after you get your master's, will you be pursuing a PhD? Almost certainly not. I remember at Harvey Mudd, I had this awkward experience where my thesis was in... Do I have my thesis on one of these shelves here? Yep, here we go. Here's my thesis. All right, here's my math thesis. Functions of the binomial coefficient. Yes! Yeah, that's right. Basically studying what happens when you take determinants in Pascal's triangle. Man, is this boring. Man, do you not care about this. Oh, it was so kick-ass. Look at me thanking my friends. Oh my god. Huge thank to Prof. Arthur Benjamin, who was my thesis advisor, and that man is a hero. He is fucking awesome, Prof. Benjamin. He was so positive and encouraging to me. However, there came a point where I would walk into my weekly thesis meeting trying to study some super high-order function, some super high-order determinant in Pascal's triangle, and be like, so Sean, tell me about your updates for the week. And I would say, well, I didn't really do anything because I'm not smart enough. I can't do the things to make my thesis better at all. I can't think that hard about this because it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, seriously, if I sat and just tried to get you to wrap your head around what a Baxter permutation is, your head would explode and you'd vomit blood and you'd get a runny nose, right? It was deeply unsettling to try to study some of these mathematical objects. So when I was applying to grad school, I kind of did like the shotgun blast of applications where there was like PhD programs to, combinatorics and graph theory and optimization. I did some operations research programs. I did some statistics. But then I also did like some of the sort of like technical art. I don't know what it's called, like art and technology mixture programs, like interactive media here at USC, or digital art PhD, digital media PhD at Georgia Tech, the ETC at Carnegie Mellon, these sorts of things. I kind of diversified. And then, as I was getting closer to the end of my senior year, I was just like, wow, yeah, I'm really just not smart enough for this. Guess I'm not doing a PhD in math. Guess I'm just completely not going to be able to do higher education because it's not something that I can actually do. And I really, really was interested in doing the interactive media program here because it's very like hands-on and tangible. It's very much so like, let's make a product and output something and look at it and try to improve it and iterate upon that. And that sort of meshed very well with me, and I'm really excited at the sort of tools that I've got from this program here at the IMD to now go make cool projects and sort of, churn things out. Because it's kind of fun, the fact that there's like mass public scrutiny of things, It's kind of fun to me, the idea that I would say, hey guys, how about for a daily, I do it while hanging upside down from the ceiling? Like midway through, all the blood rushes to my head and I like pass out dead on the floor. And people are like, it was kind of boring. I wasn't crazy about it because you were dead for half of it. And, I enjoy that. I don't like let me cower in fear in my room and sculpt my craft until I have the perfect. I love churning out imperfect shit and, again, iterating and iterating and iterating. So, probably not going to be pursuing a PhD after this little stint here. Because, one, I just don't think that my brain power is enough for it. Two, I'm having a lot of fun doing this sort of things. And three, there is nothing more fun than churning out imperfect products and designs and getting huge amounts of feedback from them, from you basically, since you're the person listening to me. So I can get good opinions from PTA mothers in Vermont. I'm gonna take one more question about that. Let's go ahead and do one more thing. All sorts of good things like that. Yeah. Oh, there's a question. I just scrolled back. Quellian says, Dear Day 9, as a recent master's engineering graduate, I found coping with the transition from high school to college required a huge shift in my mindset and how I treated my studies. How did you cope? Now there's something really interesting to note. Weirdly enough, I was actually just talking about this with my brother, actually, who I just got off the phone with, who, I was actually telling the people before I started the stream that, I was on the phone with them, and I was like, Nick, I'm so sorry to cut this off, but my brain's not working right, and I have to do this show. I can't cancel again. I gotta run. And he's like, oh, dude, I totally understand. It was great talking to you. I love you. Tell him to buy shirts at thehandsomenerd.com. Take it easy, bye. I was like, I knew he'd do it to be funny, but I was just laughing so hard because if you've ever watched the GSL, he's like, I'm Tasteless from Team EG, Tasteless from Team EG, wearing the handsomenerd.com shirts, and plugging various things. So that's your plug, Nick. I love you. But I was talking to him about this, that when I was in the big transition that was hard for me from high school to college was like maintaining friendship with people, because like I had this weird thing happen in where I went to a public middle school, but then I went to a private high school, an all boys Jesuit preparatory high school, right? The perfect breeding ground for a pro gamer. Yes, yes, girls, whatever. I'll play video games and only be around men. Bow. I probably shouldn't bash it too much because it was a great educational experience. But the hard thing for me was that I developed this big base of friends in middle school, and they all went to the nearby public school, and then I went to high school. And for me, it felt like I lost like 30 friends, and they lost one friend. So for them, the effect wasn't as strong as it was for me. And this is back before like AOL Instant Messenger was cutting edge technology. That was some new media technology shit. The fact that you didn't have to send an email, which most people didn't even have anyways. This is during the era when you'd have to get on the modem with the it would make all the noises. And when you'd log in, it wouldn't actually take you to the internet. It would take you to your ISP's list of shit that they wanted you to do, like AOL Games. And I was like, is this the internet? Have I found the internet? This is the period of time. So, like, it was very difficult for me to just, like, communicate with these people. And I ended up having a really hard time connecting with a lot of people in my high school. I probably, the closest person to me in my high school was my brother, because we just kind of come home and play Starcraft or play video games together, like Guardian Heroes or that sort of thing. And then he went off to college, and I kind of had a, kind of a lonely senior year. And then I went to college. And again, even though I didn't have like super close friends from my high school, I still had my little group of LAN buddies who I would, do LAN parties with and all that good stuff. So when I went to college, again, it was kind of this sort of thing. But what worked out so cool for me, this is going to sound so stupid, but this is the shit that just doesn't occur to you until after it's happened. I wanted like friends. I wanted people who I could assign that label of, hey, you're a friend, you're my buddy, right? We do things together. But it never actually occurred to me that maybe you should have like common interests and things you like doing together. Isn't that weird? I know that sounds dumb, but it was weird when I got to Harvey Mudd, and I'd be like, yeah, I like math. And people would be like, oh, I love math. Want to hear this really crazy math fact? And I would be like, yes, actually, I do. And then, and we'd all be, taking these crazy classes, in the core curriculum. And people would crack, like, general relativity jokes at lunch. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, high five for 3 people getting that one in life. Right? It was really nice. And it was basically people who I would be able to get along with. Like in a very sort of permanent way. And, that's, where I met my friend Tristan, who you're hearing me talk about like all the time. I talk to Tristan like almost every day now. And it was just really, really kind of a kick-ass experience. For me, in terms of like the whole studying thing, even though your question was about how did you manage to cope with the change of studies, I guess I was always kind of studious anyways. So what was really fun for me when I went to Mudd is that the material I just thought was cool. I just thought it was kick-ass sometimes in selective circumstances. There's always the class where it's like, oh, God, it doesn't even matter. If the class begins at 7 a.m., I fucking hate that class. That's the worst class, whatever it is that starts at 7 a.m. If it's like a 1 p.m. class, love that class. That class is good. I love that material. But for me, I mean, the big thing that I kind of had to just get used to was, this was the biggest shift for me in college, to actually answer this question. I had to learn to just love doing whatever it was I was doing in my homework. I had to find something that made me really happy. And for me, it was making it meticulously well organized and color-coded and very smooth. I mean, I'm a disorganized person. You can even see, like, there's my towel on my chair. I just drape it on the chair. And if anyone sits there, it's going to be moist. But that's where the towel is in my general view of the world, right? That's what it does. But like in terms of writing things down, I had to focus on little things that made me really happy. So the fact that I color coded everything, and the fact that I made it really organized, the fact that I made certain that the answer was clearly boxed and labeled, that there were no steps skipped, meant that, yeah, homework assignments would take 10 to 12 hours to finish, but I had a delightful 10 to 12 hours doing them because I learned a shit ton, and it was a beautiful piece of work that I didn't really save any of. I would show you if I did. Let's take another topic of discussion, all right? Let's take another topic. Here's a brief one that I wanted to do because people were asking about it beforehand. Feel free to ask me questions about objects in my room. Feel free to ask me about questions about objects that you see. I'm even going to step out of the frame here for a minute. Uh-oh, don't unplug the headphones. I don't want to give you a feedback loop. Don't want to give you a feedback loop. All right, here we go. Here's my room. You may ask absolutely anything you want about the objects before. You see my posters here. Here's my bookshelf. I have another one that's off camera right here. We have my Winnie the Pooh poster, my MBA diploma. Good. Let's see. Okay, yeah, people asking. Here's a good one. So I think a lot of you know that I love Chipotle. And I used to eat there every single day. So I ate there so much that the manager gave me the Master Burrito Ambassador Certificate. Yes, indeed. Oh, yes. That's what I get, man. I still eat at Chipotle frequently. It's probably my favorite place to go. Did I do it? Good. So that's that. Yeah. I literally ate there every single day in the summer, often twice a day. It was like insane. Of course, I like just talking to people. One of my favorite things is just to have a conversation with whomever is there. Here's a big secret in life. This is not something that I actively thought, but this is something that someone told me, I think like maybe 2 years ago. Said that if you can cure somebody's boredom for 30 seconds... Sorry, my tummy's growling. If you can cure somebody's boredom for 30 seconds, they will love you, and they will be so grateful to you. And I always used to do that anyways, but now I just kind of go places, I'm like, I'm going to cure this person's boredom. I'm going to be fucking weird to this person. I'm going to just say something insane, right? So I'd be at Chipotle, and they'd be like, guacamole's a little extra, right? And I'd be like, of course, that's fine. So they'd wrap it up, and I'd be like, that is a perfect meal. That is the exact size of a human stomach. I can't wait to eat that small baby-sized burrito. Just something a little goofy, and of course, since they just have people barking at them all day, that's not enough lettuce. Just put more lettuce. Take less lettuce off. No, good, fine. I'll also have a Coca-Cola. They like that quite a bit. So I got that one. Yeah. Someone asking, what is below your desk? A trash can, my subwoofer, my computer, and my legs. What are some other things? What do you have on your bookshelf? All right, so I think that some people already know this. Let's just go down the bookshelf. See, we have a plush Baneling. Yes, plush Baneling from... let me see if I can plug the site. It's from BoroOfficial.com. That's a plush Baneling. I also have Pat the Bunny. Pat the Bunny, a wonderful book. Oops, I have a photo I knocked over. And I just started collecting odd drinks. So when I was in Sweden, look, I have Nigardia. I also have a mana potion. I just have these things on my desk. I have let's see here, a lot of fun books about learning, like Mozart's Brain and the Fighter Pilot. I like a lot of things. This is my all-time favorite read, The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. Yes, indeed. That book's kick-ass. I got some comic books here. I have Spawn. I have art books. Like, okay, best artist ever. Greatest artist ever. Zdzisław Beksinski. I know I screwed that up for any of you who are Polish, right? But, like, he's so good. I love looking at huge, like, drawings of his, like, amazing artwork. Like, it's just, like, ultra detailed, kick-ass stuff. I spend probably a significant portion of every day trying to identify things that I just really like. Like, just these extremely detailed photos that are kind of a little creepy, a little sort of dark, a little gritty, but highly detailed. And it's just fun for me to look at these elaborate settings and just sort of picture things that would happen here. Like something like this. That's epic, man. That is awesome. That kicks ass. That is so great. So I have some art books here. I have some art books. This is actually kind of my emptier shelf. I have some more comic books. I have Jim Butcher's Dresden Files series here. And then I have some more. I have math books and math-related things down here. Yeah. A little bit about the tour of my room. All right, I'm going to move on to another topic of discussion. All right. Video games. Yeah, let's do some video games. People ask me to pan around the room. No. No. All right, cool. Cool. Fix your cert. It's crooked. My cert. Do you need my tooth? My tooth, it's chipped. I can't fix that. You see that? Yeah, that one. That's actually a great story. Let's actually just include that in this list of stories. And then I'll take your questions about video games. Will I? Yeah, I'll tell the story. So, I don't know why. My brother and I, we did all sorts of crazy, goofy things when we were little. You know, like we would just pick up branches, like sticks, and just like sword fight with them. So we'd be like swinging them, like not even like cha, but like full muscle swinging the stick, and they'd be like breaking to pieces. Be like, yeah, that's awesome. You know, we'd like roll around on the ground and get like fleas and stuff. And our grandpa was awesome. He totally empowered my brother and I. And of course, my mom, my grandma were like, oh, the boys, they're filthy. Oh, you gotta. Don't do it, Grandpa. But Grandpa, no, boys need to play outside. Ugh. So we were playing this game in my grandparents' backyard because Nick and I, would hang out with our grandparents at their house when Mom was doing a lot of work. So here's the game. Here's the setup. Nick and I lie on the ground, and about 100 yards away, or that's a long way, about 100 feet away, my grandpa would have a soccer ball, and he would punt it as high as he could into the air, and Nick and I would just hope that it didn't land on us. And that was the game. And it was a lot of fun, because it would be like, boom, go up, and we'd be like, boom, and it would land here, boom, so close. And injuries did occur with this game. Grandpa, boom, kick it up in the air, and Nick would be like, and then this high-velocity leather ball would just crash right into my brother's stomach with this thick thwack. That's the noise I use, is thwack. This is the noise of leather hitting an 8-year-old boy's bare skin. And you'd be like, oh, it would hurt. It would like knock the wind out of him, and Grandpa would laugh. We'd be like, Grandpa, you're awesome. And one of these hit me in the face, right? It kicked up in the air and it went, and it's actually my bottom teeth actually just like slammed up against like this tooth or something like that, because I had like funny looking teeth as a kid before I had braces, and I chipped the back of it. So that's why. See, if I like tilt my head up, you see how it's like quite thin. So we played wonderful games as a kid. Yes, indeed. So, let's go ahead and take some video game questions. Yes, from Furious Jodo. What team did you use in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and what team do you want to use in Marvel vs. Capcom 3? I actually have not had time to do anything from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That is the curse of my life, is I have tons of things on my like board, which is something I created not long ago that I'll tell you about later. There's so much stuff that I want to do that I just can't, because I'm low on time. And also because I have that guilt. I hate is when it's like Sunday. And let's say your homework is going to take 5 hours, and that's it. Just 5 hours of work. Nothing. Easy. That's do 5 hours in my sleep, right? Nothing. So, theoretically, I could play Mass Effect 2 for like 8 hours, and then do my homework for 5 hours, and then go to bed. But I don't. I think about playing Mass Effect 2, and I say, no, I should do some homework, or I should do something productive. Okay, well, maybe, okay. And then I'll go over and I'll dabble for a bit and be like, well, let me do my homework just in case. So I start to work on that, but then I'm thinking about Mass Effect 2. I hate that cycle. I hate it. So lately I've really kind of been having so much work that I don't even get the chance to do that sort of consideration. But interestingly enough, I've hardly ever played Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and yet I watch so much Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I literally am a pure observer of that game. It started in high school when my brother And I would go with our little group of friends to the arcade, and Nick and Brandon and Parker would play a lot of MVC2, and I'd watch. And anytime we'd have a LAN party, they'd bring MVC2 there, and they'd all play it. And, I would take breaks from playing Starcraft and sort of go to the TV area and watch them play. So my favorite teams, obviously, are Spiral Sentinel, any Spiral Sentinel team, and, of course, Strider Sentinel Doom. Hence why I had the name Strider Doom in all the WCGs starting in, 2004. Yeah. Dunsford asks, are you competitive in any other video games? No. I'm actually only good at exactly one thing. And that would be StarCraft. I'm trying to think if I ever tried to be good at any other games with any success. Well, here's a combo question from Zadeus. Says, Day 9, other than StarCraft, what games do you currently play? I play a lot of Beatmania 2DX. That game! I love Beatmania 2DX. I think there's a game I installed recently that I'm trying to remember. Nope, blanking on it. A game I played recently I liked quite a bit was Infamous. I love Infamous. I love it so much. That game was awesome. And this is a general question. People asking about, all sorts of generally just what sort of games do you play? Tell me about the games you like. So I'll just go ahead and group that all into one little answer. So, here is the greatest conversation starter of all time. Conversation starter of all time, which is name your top 5 games in no order. Just top 5 games. Or if you have a lot of time, do top 10 games. Top 5 games. That makes for amazing discussion. That's awesome. So for me, you know what I always hate is that technically for me I should just be top 4 games of all time because I want to be the Starcrafts because it's. So I'm actually gonna just completely not even include Starcraft in there because that's obvious. It's not even a game anymore. It's a lifestyle, isn't it? So it would be Beatmania 2DX. Okay, so let's see here. Earth Defense Force 2017. That's right, I said it. Earth Defense Force 2017. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I know I'm leaving a key one off right now. Banjo-Kazooie is also up there. Banjo-Kazooie. And probably Guardian Heroes. Probably Guardian Heroes on the Sega Saturn. Now, there's something that I want to just kind of lay out for you. I'm going to say this, and people are going to immediately be like, what? Blasphemy! Oh my god. Probably number 6 on my list of games is Mass Effect. The first one. I haven't played Mass Effect 2 because I'm awful and I haven't gotten around to it. Mass Effect 1, I would not call a fun game. Okay? That is controversial, right? I could talk about capital punishment and all that stuff. I'm actually looking over to see about everyone be like, oh my god, what are you talking about? That's right. I would not label it as a fun game. Because it, to me, is an immersive game. It's a sort of game where you're I'm not doing anything till Tuesday, so time to just be a person in the Mass Effect universe for a little while. It has that drama, it has that story, the combat system's pretty kick-ass, you get to explore, you get to see this beautiful scenery and all this stuff. But it's not this sort of come on, fun, action, always happening all the time. It's not there for me. I'm the sort of person who likes a lot of real-time, fast-paced, real snappy, non-stop engagement kind of gameplay in general. So, for instance, Gunstar Heroes for the Sega Genesis. Yeah, there's 16 different guns in there. Is that did I say that right? 14 choose. No, I don't know. There's a lot of different guns in there. Now I actually have to compute it because I am a loser. I don't know. I don't want to do it. There's a lot of different weapons in there, but there's no menu system, right? There's no menu system. It's very, very, very fast-paced. Banjo-Kazooie, just the act of sort of moving around and navigating this environment, that act is very, very, very pleasurable for me. Starcraft, spamming a lot, moving things around is a very pleasurable act to me. Like, the atomic individual motion has to be a deeply, deeply, deeply pleasing thing to me. For something like Mass Effect, the overarching story, oh, I need to get to the end of this boss, so that way I can find out what happens in the story. How many of you guys have said, yeah, this RPG sucks, but I have to finish it because I need to find out what happened, I need to find out what happens in the story? I almost always stop those games because I have this deep desire to have it be extremely grabbing. And that's what I loved about Earth Defense Force 2017, is that you're killing thousands upon thousands of spiders and giant ants and walking mecha dinosaurs with the most absurdly destructive weapons, and the whole screen is exploding. And if you're playing it on the hardest difficulty level, it is hard, and I love hard games. That's what I'm really into. That's my top list, man. That's the sort of stuff that I really dig, that I'm really into. If for some reason I decided to take like 2 months off and just not be a member of society, I would absolutely begin doing more games like, Fallout New Vegas. I played Fallout 3, but haven't played Fallout New Vegas. I would do like Mass Effect. I would play through a lot of the old Final Fantasies, that sort of thing. Because I need time to be able to do immersion for those kinds of games. Yeah. What else is here? What else? People asking about Zelda. I really did like Link to the Past. I just loved how just non-stop fun that is. All right, let's see. Let's take one more question. Let's take one more question about video games and move on to another topic. Let's see. I did play Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation, and that game was okay. I thought it was fine. I didn't really... I was like, meh. It was a game. I beat it, and it was adequate. Who asked that question? Oh yeah, Oscatate SC2 asked that question. Sorry, I didn't give you credit earlier. Yeah. But it was yeah. Okay. This is a question I'm going to take because it's kind of like a general theme in the way I answer a lot of things and form a lot of opinions. From the Stanman 6 is Day 9. What is your opinion on the Warhammer 40,000 franchise? So, I don't have one, and I don't care. I probably shouldn't say I don't care, because that's like a loaded phrase. That's like, where it's like, but, I want to be friends, and I want to love each other. I don't care! It has like one of those, freaky sort of connotations to it. In my eyes, I think it is so unbelievably important to be deeply comfortable with having no opinion about something, to adamantly have no opinion, and to embrace when you have no idea about things. I think that's super key, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, Warhammer 40,000, I played it for 10 minutes, and I was just the shittiest game of all time! And I think it's such an error to be proud of the fact that you are deeply... or that you're always ready to jump to a conclusion, that you're proud of how quickly you judge. Judging's like the worst thing in the world. You should just acquire knowledge and say, I played it, and what I didn't like when I played it was this, but I haven't really played it that much. So for me, the Warhammer series, I haven't played them at all. I understand that there's this sort of system where your armies mark resource nodes. So you kind of have to split whether your army's battling or claiming new resources, and so in a sense your army is directly related to how and where you end up getting those new resources. I think it's a pretty cool abstraction of economy. I think that sounds neat. And that is all the things I have to say about that. Yeah, and Gamer's posting something. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Gamer posted me a question from Total Biscuit, and I must take this question. Can you explain to people why exactly both Guardian Heroes and Hunter Hunted are excellent games? Because obviously, these people are flagrantly ignorant on the topic. Now, I'm not going to lie. Guardian Heroes, a Sega Saturn game. Hunter Hunted, a 1996 platformer for the PC only. They fall under this same theme of non-stop action-ness. Guardian Heroes is a beat-em-up game where you gain levels in the gameplay, and then at the end of the level, you distribute stat points in a Diablo-style fashion. And all the mechanics are brilliant, right? Like, so for instance, you have a magic meter, so you can cast spells, and it depletes. How do you rebuild a magic meter? You get a higher combo as you're beating the shit out of the enemy. So you're just like, and it's like your mana bar is, so if you're a spellcaster character, you cast a bunch of awesome spells, bring them down to almost dead, go up, wail on them, rebuild your mana bar, and then when the next set of baddies comes, you're ready to rock. Seriously, go look up Guardian Heroes. Non-stop action. Also, Guardian Heroes has a branching storyline, so at the end of each level, it's like, do you want to go to the village and rest, or do you want to go directly to the town? Do you want to go to the forest? These sorts of things. And there's like 6 different endings, and the storylines sometimes are completely different from one another. So an entire game takes like 45 minutes to an hour. So when you're done, you can just load it right back up, and it has this insane replay value to it. I sometimes it pains me that there's a lot of games that have this, like, you're going to play it once for 16 hours and never touch it ever again. I'm a person who kind of likes a lot of repetition, but the controls feel so good. They feel so good. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, so I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take a risk. Guys, you got to be appropriate here. You got to take a risk. I am going to suggest the topic that was most requested, which was dating. My thoughts on dating. I'm going to leave it like that. My thoughts on dating. Feel free to ask about. Don't be very inappropriate. Don't be inappropriate. Did you just hear me say that? I was like, be very inappropriate. Don't listen to what I say. Listen to what I mean. Before I even go into that story, I want to tell an awesome story from high school that I was thinking of, where we always wanted to go to like LAN parties like every weekend. Every weekend we wanted to do like a LAN, right? And it was kind of weird because, none of us had our own place to stay, so we'd have to be like, all right, Dane, can we do it at your house? Is that okay? Are your parents going to be cool with that? And it'd be like, Mom, can we do it at our house? Brand, can we do it at your house? So we'd sort of like rotate around. So there was like this treaty among our parents of like splitting up when the LANs would be where. It's like, look, I can do it 2 weekends in a row at my house as long as I just don't have it for 2 months after that, because we were up like super late, obviously. But David's house, like, he always seemed to be, his parents always seemed to be pretty cool with us, having the LAN there. And it was so awesome. It was awesome because his mom worked, like, really crazy shifts because she was a doctor, so she, like, wouldn't be home for, like, long stretches of time. And this huge, wide-open basement. It was perfect for having, like, all these PCs set up. So we would always go there to do these LANs. And there was always a couple things that were, like, a little weird. Like, he had a cat that, like, had kittens, like, quietly had kittens. Like, no one actually realized that this cat had kittens. So, like, when we were at a LAN and, like, kittens started, like, wandering everywhere. But, like, this didn't actually register to us that this was weird. We're like, oh, a kitten. Oh, cool. We, like, pick up this kitten and, like, pet the kitten. What a good kitten, It's just didn't really faze us. We had soft things to pet. We had video games. Yeah, we got another LAN, deep success. And one of the awesomest hallmarks of LANs at David's house was Fudge. Fudge was this giant, fat dog. He was the fattest dog you would ever see in your entire life. And Fudge did nothing but try to eat our food. We'd always go get junior bacon cheeseburgers from Wendy's. We'd have like a platter of them. We'd all be like eating them. And then the dog would just put its head up and eat like 6. Just like one whole swoop. We're like, Fudge, bad Fudge. And he'd be like, and just collapse next to you and want to be pet for hours. And sometimes we'd leave the gate open and Fudge would try to like run out and escape. And he would get to the other side of the street and just get really tired and have to like lie down. He was so fat and awesome. So we'd just be like, come on, Fudge. The dog would like try to run away. We'd walk faster than the dog could run. But because Fudge loved to eat everything, one day, Fudge ate a can of rat poison. Like a small can of rat poison, bit into it, like with juices gushing out, and just swallowed the whole thing. We were like, oh my god. It was like 3:30 in the morning. We didn't know what to do. We're like, Fudge is gonna die. It has like big skulls and like crossbones all over this bottle. So we're like, we have to get Fudge sick so he throws up. We have to like do a stomach pump, but like we had no way to get this dog to a vet. We had no idea what to do. So we just started feeding the dog. We were giving him potato chips, and we're giving him junior bacon cheeseburgers, and we're giving him like cereal. We're like just dumping opening up the cereal box, like, here you go, Fudge, eat the cereal. Come on, get sick, Fudge. Come on. So for like hours, we're just trying to feed the dog as much stuff as we can, so he gets sick enough to just throw up all the rat poison. Like, don't ask, all right? It made sense at the time. And he's not looking too good, He's like happy to be eating. We're like, oh God, Fudge, are you going to be okay? And nothing ever happened. He was fine. Absolutely nothing ever happened. He was delighted. He ate all the food gladly. Never got sick or ill or made a weird noise in the slightest. And we probably fed him like 15 pounds worth of awful food. Oh my God. What a kick-ass dog. What an unbelievably kick-ass dog. So Fudge is fine. Fudge lived for many more years, and one day she got sick and died of old age. So that's awesome. Fudge is a hero. So let's go ahead and take some questions about dating and relationships. Dating and relationships. Again, don't be inappropriate. Don't be inappropriate. Yimmy says, how would you handle a relationship with someone who really isn't that into gaming? And when would you tell that person how into gaming you really are? Probably immediately. Like, I am the sort of person, I do not want to like hide that. I do not want to, like, go up to someone and try to, like, conceal that I'm, like, a huge gamer. Because, honestly, like, it depends on how your gamingness is important to you. I mean, for me, it's, like, what I do. Like, it's my job, right? It's my form of entertainment. And in a general sense, when it comes to other people, it's like, it's how I interact with people, like playing a board game like Settlers of Catan with my friends. That's a fun way for me to interact. And if I couldn't share that with somebody, that would bum me out. That would kind of stink. And I mean, I don't necessarily, it's not like if you're not a Platinum League 1v1er, you're immediately cut out of the pool of consideration, Like, that would be terrible, but I would love the idea that I could be watching Starcraft, and she would sit down and be like, ooh, what's this? Or say, oh, cool, Starcraft, who's playing? That would be, like, super hot. But in a general sense, I just kind of want, like, yeah, I would totally go about telling someone that, like, yeah, this is absolutely what I'm into. And if I'm with someone who's, like, not really into gaming, you kind of have to ask yourself if that's, like, really important to you. Because, like, for me, the answer is yes. That's really important to me, that someone can really deeply appreciate games and play games with me and share that with me. For math, no, I don't. I love math, and I'm really into math, and like, I recently downloaded the iPhone app Fun Math Facts that one of my professors at Harvey Mudd wrote. Yeah, I've been, like, going through the random, learning about all sorts of cool little math facts. I don't need my lady friend to just like, hey, you want to sit down and talk about bijections, please, sweetie? I'm really into bijections today. Have you heard of the continuum hypothesis? Let me describe it to you. I don't actually need to share that. My friend Tristan, who has a master's in math, yeah, I can talk to him about math all the time. Yeah, I can totally get that. So in a sense, I can get my mathy satisfaction elsewhere, and it's not essential for me in a relationship. Yeah, let's see. Scap518 asks a similar question. Have you had a lady friend who tried to cut into your Starcraft time or did not always respect your game time? I actually have had that. That is something that has happened before. And it didn't end up working out, and that was a point of friction, right? And again, it's so fun and easy to vilify someone, to be like, this bitch, do you know what this crazy bitch did to me? She was like, stop playing StarCraft. Ah! You want to just, go to all your friends who are gamers and like, oh, she sounds like she sucks. And you high five and you frag people's heads in Halo. Like, my girlfriend would never frag anyone's face in Halo. You do all these dumb stuff. People have their own things that they're into, and it's not about, because, when I was young, I had this idea that a person was like a spectrum, that they either sucked or they got better and better and better, and on this half was good. And if it didn't, and I wouldn't apply this to other people, I'd apply it to myself. If, when I had a 7th grade romance, oh, we're in love, oh. And then we break up, right? Because we're in 7th grade, and we're all idiots and weird people. I would be like, oh, I guess I was not good enough. I guess I kind of was like at a 70% cool. I guess I got to work my way up to 100% cool. That's kind of the view I had, and I was like, okay, I guess I just need to not suck so much. But in reality, it's more like lock and key. It's like, do you actually fit in any way? So, in a sense, it wasn't that she was an impatient bitch who wouldn't let me do StarCraft. It's that, for her, that was not a meaningful, fun way of interacting. And it ate into the time that we could actually have fun, meaningful ways of interacting together. So, it didn't end up working out, but that is okay. That is okay. Never vilify. Never vilify. Yeah. Let's see here. Miggle08. Day 9, how do you feel about dating websites? Oh my gosh, deeply entertaining. Oh my goodness. It is the weirdest experience in the universe. It is so weird. It is so surreal. If any of you haven't done it, you need to just do it so you have an amazing icebreaker when you're talking to people. To be all meta on it, I don't think it's weird. If two people met on a dating site and end up working out, that doesn't feel weird to me in any way. Because let's take one of my buddies, the little one, who I met through StarCraft 2. We've never lived in the same country, and in fact have almost always been separated by 9 hours of time zone. And yet I feel like I can call him up and be like, "Hey Dario, check out this thing that happened to me today," and he can say shit to me in German, right? Like that, and I'm sure for all of you, you have tons. I know you. You have a friend who you met through a game that you're close to in some way that's beyond just the game. And it feels normal and it feels fine. So why should a relationship be any different? And here comes the part where the entertainment steps in. Here's where the entertainment ends up stepping forward. If you enter a Starbucks, and let's say this is in 1991. Maybe Starbucks didn't exist then. I don't care. But you enter Starbucks, enter a coffee shop. There's a pretty lady next to the only open seat in the entire coffee shop. You sit down, and you say, "Is this seat taken?" "Oh, no, go right ahead." You start talking, and then it turns out, wow, this person's actually cool. It's coincidentally, I think you and I get along. Let's maybe do another step further. Let's see this goes somewhere. Yeah. And that's how that works. On a dating site, you log on, and here's everyone saying, "Hey, here's who I am. Here are my associated set of statistics. Here's my height. Here's how I describe my body type." If you're on a site like OkCupid, it has a match percentage and an enemy percentage, and it has all these data about you. Here are my interests. Here are 6 types of cheese that I would label as malicious. It's things that you never, ever, ever, ever experience. The analogy that I say is if you went to a coffee shop and you just sat down with each person, we're like, "Okay, who are you? How tall are you? How would you describe your body type? Okay, no, thank you. Okay, you. Let's analyze you." For me, a relationship has always been something that just kind of happened. You meet someone, there's a chemistry, and it happens. It's not like shopping for a book on Amazon.com, and sometimes that's the way it feels. But honestly, that's just the thing you have to kind of get over. In the coffee shop, the thing you have to get over is it weird for me to just be talking to this person who I don't know anything about? And of course, on a dating site, is it weird for me to be trying to find out if there's going to be a connection between our self-created sets of data about ourselves? It's pretty absurd. It's pretty absurd. Let's see. Cragfire. Yeah, dear Day 9, what sort of reaction do you tend to get when you tell girls that you're a professional gamer? Technically I'm not. I have a strict definition where it's that if I make my living strictly off of being a player of a game, then I would call myself a pro gamer. A lot of people just say, "He's really good," and that means pro or something like that. But let's just say that the centerpiece of my life is gaming, and that my profession revolves around gaming-related content. One of my goals, just in general, is to like elevate the level of discourse around gaming and the descriptions associated with gaming. In my eyes, there's nothing weird about the fact that I do it at all. And if I don't feel weird about it, and I'm totally embracing of it, and I can articulate it in a way that makes it not weird and makes it so that she'll be totally embracing of it, then yeah, I think it's actually pretty kick-ass. And you know what? She better have something interesting too. Because what if she's boring? Oh gosh. Hey, tell me, what sort of music do you like? I like everything. Okay. Okay, what about country? No, I hate country. So it's not everything, you know? All right, well, tell me, what kind of music do you like? What do you like to do for fun? Well, I like hanging out with my friends. You know, I just like chilling. Okay. Do you what's a movie you like? I like all sorts of movies. Just tell me something. Like, if she came up and was like, I am a professional kayaker, and I'm really nervous because those kayak blades are sharp, and my sister was decapitated by a kayak blade in a competition, and I'm like, oh my god, you're so interesting, right? Like, I honestly think that everyone should have something that they love so much and they think is so kick-ass that first of all, you're happy because you have something you love that you think is kick-ass, and second of all, you can go, when you're talking to someone who's like, tell me about yourself, you have a thing that you go to, you can actually talk about yourself in a meaningful way. So be like, oh, and whatever, it's kind of cool, it's kind of interesting. And honestly, with people, period, not just like, the ladies, but like people, I'm always trying to find out what is that core thing you just really love. It's just like your thing that you're really into. Because if I can find out about that, you immediately are like the most interesting person in the universe, and that is awesome. And I love that you love that thing that you're into. That's cool. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's a hell of a question. Metabolica, Yode9, have you ever told a girl, as a chat-up line, that you are a pro Starcraft player, have won tournaments, and have an online following? No, I do not. That actually is... honestly, that's kind of a point of discomfort for me. Because I think like take this very daily, for instance. Why did I do this format? Because you know what? I couldn't churn out a daily today. I just couldn't. I didn't have the time. My brain was elsewhere. I'm having an off day, so you know what? A Q&A just about random things on my mind, that's going to be a little easier. That's why I did that. That is kind of something that I would do with like a friend. And that's how I view the StarCraft community. Every time I've ever talked to someone in the SC community, they're just friendly, and they'll be able to say something like, oh, hey, you play Zerg, good luck not making it to the round of 32 in GSL, and I'm like, and we immediately have like a connection, right? That's the way it feels. So I actually don't feel discomfort with the viewers, ever. And in particular, I don't feel discomfort with you, dear person watching, because, I know what the StarCraft player is, and I know what that means, and that feels good. But, like... And that's kind of, like, what I like about the daily is that sort of casual... It's, like, nice for me to kind of, just gonna, like, hang out with some buddies. And the reason I kind of bring this all up is that, like... I still feel like I'm just sort of hanging out with people I like, it's kind of, I'm just sort of doing something I enjoy, StarCraft, and sort of talking about it, and I see what you're typing over there. That's right, I can see your text right now, and I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool, it's fine. And it feels uncomfortable to me, the fact that I'm anything other than a freaking nerd who plays video games. That's my perception of myself. I do not perceive myself... Excuse me, do you know how many followers I have on Twitter in the last week alone? When I tweet things, my Twitter followers... Oh, but do you know how many views I have? My internet penis is this big! Because, like, that's so... First of all, that's silly and that's so boring. Oh, God, is that boring. So, honestly, I will say that I do a web show, because that's what I do. I'm not going to be like, no, I don't nothing. I'm a writer. I want to be an actor one day. I don't lie, but I definitely don't come right. Hi, I'm Kathy. I compete in the Olympics. It's nice to meet you. I have no. Impressing other people is like the lowest priority for me ever. That's like so. I want to talk about things that we like doing. That seems pretty cool to me. Not like, do you respect me? You better respect me because in the last week alone, my Twitter follower base, they did all these things. It's Parasite 01. Dear Day 9, have you actually went up to a girl and said, I hate LA traffic? Yes. Yes. I do all sorts of crazy things. Oh, man. There's like... by crazy things, I mean, I just start conversations with random people with zero expectation. I have all sorts of fun things. Let's see here. Dum-ba-dum-dum-dum-dum. Wizferk. I like this question from Wizferk, who says, Dear Day 9 is a slightly shy person. I would like to know how do you approach dating as a gamer geek nerd? Where do you meet people, and what do you usually do when approaching a person of interest? I'm going to first qualify my answer by saying that I'm a pretty talkative person, as you may note. Talking is something that I have a deep amount of comfort with. The fact that I can just come up here and just kind of blah, 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 and just talk about whatever for a while. However, part of what was always really absolutely essential for me was really knowing a lot about who I was and what I wanted, which sounds dumb, but like when I'd probably say even up through mid-high school, I kind of had this role of a chameleon in a relationship. Tell me if this rings a bell for any of you, where I would be like, I would go into a room and I would scan the room like the Terminator, and one girl would show up red. All the others would be blue. I wouldn't give a fuck about them, but she would be red, and I'd be like, I want her. That is the girl I want to date. And I would start talking to her, and like, I actually thought this was correct. I thought my goal was to, again, as the chameleon, to be what she wanted, and that would be awesome. You know how kind of in like third grade when the pretty girl who you're into, Gail's like, oh, my favorite color is blue. And you're like, me too, that's my favorite color. Because you want Gail to build Legos with you during recess. That sort of mindset, I think, carries over when you get later in life as well. Where you're like, okay, well, she said that she likes art. I guess I should just bring up art a little bit more. Okay, cool. Yeah, and what would happen is that I would bend into this sort of funky person, and it wouldn't work out, and I would kind of be like, oh, what, did I mess up? Did I do something wrong? And it took me actually a surprisingly long amount of time to be like, okay, I like games, and I like interacting with people via games. I like someone who wants to talk about feelings when we're upset. I like someone who is really passionately into a hobby. I like someone, or actually I should make this more about me instead of the other person. I like electronic music. I really like comic books a lot. Like, I knew what I really, really, really liked and was really, really, really into. And as a result, it was important for me to just represent me and not what she wanted. And that made relationships so much easier and so much more successful. Because, oh my gosh, we have the same interests, we get along, we can do things together, and I'm not trying to be anyone but myself. Yeah! So that I think is the fundamental thing, is to like yourself and to know yourself and to just be into yourself. To spend time every day identifying shit you like. I created a like board, which is a giant board of things that I like and things I want to do. I recently created my top 10 lists of, or my top 10 video games of all time, my top 10 books of all time, my top 10 comics and songs of all time. I have a list of the TV shows I'm watching that I like, and I'll sometimes walk by my like board and be like, yeah, I really did love Avatar: Last Airbender, and I'll think about why I like it so much. So I just have all my interests there, and I'm like, God, I like things. There's things I'm into, and they're cool. Yeah, like I have a TV show I'm going to watch right when I get off this daily. Yes! After I'm done encoding and uploading and tagging and other associated things like that. Yeah. But the other thing that I would throw out there, oh man, Oh, this is such a funny way to say this. When you're a shy person and you want to go talk to a girl and you're worried, oh, I want it to turn out right. Oh, I hope she doesn't judge me. The most important thing to remember is that she isn't real. And I know that sounds weird, but this is what I mean. She isn't real. Okay? So let's say I'm in like a Starbucks. Again, everything's a coffee shop, right? And this person, I'm like, oh, she's cute. Oh my gosh. If I go up to her and I make a complete idiot out of myself, and I am shameful and I stutter, let's say I go up to her and I'm like, hi, and then I go and vomit onto her coffee. It's embarrassing. And I walk away ashamed and I trip over my shoelaces on the way out and I fart as the door's shutting, right? It's embarrassing. The reason I say she isn't real is because I'm never going to see that person ever again, no matter what. And that situation is level 2 funny. It's embarrassing at the time, but it's going to be a really funny story to tell later. That's actually how I approach a lot of scary things in life, is that, okay, this is either going to go well, or it's going to go so badly that I'm going to have a funny story later, and I know I can be rest assured that this is not going to be a scary thing with this person ever again. It's just really not. And some of you might even be saying something like, well, I'm really into an extremely close friend of mine, who, or even someone I go to class with. How do I go up to her? You know what? I even remember one of my friends, like, when I first met her, I was like, she's pretty cool. I want to take her on a date. And I was like, hey, can I take you on a date? And she was like, no. But I still want to be friends. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And I just made sure that we were good friends. And things are always as weird as you want them to be, or as weird as you make them. And because I just constantly repeat to myself, it's fine, everything's great, everything's awesome, everything's so awesome, everything ends up kind of being awesome. So, you know what? If you're one of those people who has that sort of fear, remember, the worst that can happen is that you're going to have an amazing story to tell. That's the worst that can happen. Oh my God. I'm trying to think if I have any really awful, embarrassing things. Wow. None that I'm willing to share publicly. Wow. But yeah, dude, I make an idiot out of myself all the time. I mean, how often have you seen me make a complete ass out of myself live here on the daily? And you know what? It's funny. It's awesome. Embrace it. Embrace it. Doom, 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 doom. I'll take one more question. Doom, doom, doom. Bum bum bum. You know what? I'll take this. I'll take this question, and then I'll change the topic one more time. I'll open the floor to any question you want to ask me. Apparently, this has gone a little bit long, but hopefully that is my way of apologizing for not having a daily today. Woohoo! I'll take this one. How would your lifestyle change if you were to start competing again, and how would you adjust to it? I think that I would be a little more intense because I'd be a little bit more focused. I'd probably That is an interesting question. I don't know. I haven't really considered it. I'm in a very comfortable position where I can play a lot, and not as much as I'd like, but I can still play, and I can do this commentary that makes me happy. But I think Wow, I can't believe I don't have a good answer for that. How would it change if I were to start competing again, and how would I adjust to it? I think that what would be the hardest adjustment for me is public scrutiny. That would be the hardest thing for me to adjust to, because the way that I practice is very privately, and very much so as though no one exists. You ever heard of those chess masters who will just sit with a board and play both sides and try to really study the game? And they're not thinking at all about, will I win the tournament? Are people thinking I'm good? What are people saying on the forums about me? I very much so operate in that fashion. I like to ladder privately and quietly and study my own strategies and do that sort of thing. And I think it would be kind of uncomfortable to have like that many eyes every time I entered a tournament. I would think to myself, you know what? I'm going to try this weird warp prism based strategy for this tournament. Let's see how that pans out. And I practice it and just get knocked out first round. I would really probably struggle with a lot of that sort of, one data point commentary. Oh, I don't know why Day 9's such a warp prism player. I don't know why all this stuff and all that sort of jazz. So I'd probably have to just practice a lot more to overcome that quite a bit. Let's see. Feel free to ask any other old question. Any other old question. Let's see here. Not relating to Starcraft 2. Dum 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 dum. Bum ba-dum bum ba-ba-dum. Any other old question? Eric PP, what is your theory on life? How do you deal with haters? That's the question I'm going to end on because it's meaningful. Yeah, thanks, Eric PP. What is my theory on life? People are very complicated. And it's important to just be happy and to make other people happy and to not judge. Whenever people have emotions that make them do things that they regret later, always forgive and always be so happy and ready to just sort of go back into it. And the reason I say the people are complicated thing is that it's so easy to just create labels. It's so easy. Oh yeah, he's one of those. I mean, you'll hear, oh, he's one of those people who just always complains. Whenever you complain, just can't hear about it. And people are like, yeah, and I'm going to call that a complainer. And then, oh, yeah, she's a complainer, and that guy's a complainer, and these three dogs, if they spoke English, they'd be complainers. And then you have all these labels, and you're trying to juggle all these definitions that are based around just being mad, really. I mean, you created a whole definition, a whole label, just so you could have a shorthand for hating on somebody, and I don't like that. I like the idea that you always give someone the benefit of the doubt. Always give someone the benefit of the doubt. If you think someone's cheating in a game, you give them the benefit of the doubt, and you make yourself a better player. If someone says something shitty to you, don't take it personally. Assume that they had a bad day and that they needed to just yell at you because they trusted you. Make it positive. Make everything positive because everything always has a positive side to it, really. And how do I deal with haters? I just don't. It doesn't really bug me that much. Really. I one of the big things is to just not engage. Because I mean, again, from their point of view, what if you watched a tournament? Let's say I was a player and I played in a tournament and did terribly, and some guy was like, Dana, you're so dumb. Oh, God, like, can't believe you did that strategy. That's so stupid. I mean, the fact that someone went out of their way to bash on me means that there's probably something else that bothers them. Imagine the happiest person you know publicly writing a nasty, vicious, angry, negative thing about someone else. Imagine the nicest person you know writing a letter to the professor that everyone loves and sends it to the whole school, just hating all over them. Like, it doesn't line up, right? So it's so important to assume that, it probably would not help anyone for me to be like, look, I was just trying a strategy, all right, man, back off, man, all right, come on, jeez. And honestly, a lot of the people who are haters do help sculpt the show into something that works for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who say things like, I really hate this and this and this and this and this about it. And I'm kind of like, those might actually be some legitimate concerns. Yeah, let's sort of look into that. Yeah. And I want to talk about a key influence in my life. The greatest human being on the planet Earth, a girl named Cambria. Oh my God. she is my hero in life. Oh my god. Like, I learned how to be happy because of that person. Like, I remember when I met her, I mean, you know, how everyone has their kind of bad ways of dealing with things that they develop when they're growing up, you know? Like, no matter what I would say, Cambria would always be like, oh, that's okay. Like, sweetly and genuinely care. She was so nice. You know, like, I would say something like, I lost 40 games of Starcraft, and I got mad and broke my keyboard in half and punched a wall, and now my hand hurts and I'm an idiot. She'd go, oh, that's okay. And I'd be like, it is? Is that okay? Because that seems weird to me. That seems, she's like, no, it's totally okay. It's okay. It totally happens. Just like she has a PhD in emotions, man. And that has always propped me up to be a very positive person. Be more like Cambria. Yeah, be like Cambria. She's awesome. She's a hero. So no matter what, it's always okay. There's always good stuff going on, my friends. Always good stuff. Hence my like board. Hence why I like to sit around all day thinking about things that I like doing, things that make me happy. That's the daily, my random Q&A about all things not related to StarCraft 2. Tomorrow's Fun Day Monday. See you then. After that, it'll be Newbie Tuesday. I'm going to sign out and have myself a nice, relaxing evening where my brain is cleared. A nice, relaxing evening because it's Sunday night. Time to be chill. Hope you guys enjoyed. You're the greatest. You are my friends. And I always feel at home with ya. Cheerio.